It's summertime here in Hayward, Wisconsin. I'm here with Jim Hudson, also of The Next Bite, and we're going to be doing a little fishing around here in the Hayward area. It's based around this Muskie Festival thing. It's a big tradition. Brian Schram's coming over to play some of his fishing tunes. The fishing rocker will be here. The only problem is he's going to be a little late. Yep. Not coming in until tonight, so we're going to be minus a batter here, and this cold front is really cold, so I think things are going to be a little tough, dude, but thank God we got a lot of lakes around here to try and different
we got some rivers to try and what the...
Never fear, Super Muskie Man is here to give you the next bite.
I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for some fish with teeth. Fish with teeth.
Keith Cavallez, Gary Parsons, and Pete Maina live to fish. But certain fish really throw these guys over the edge. Walleye, muskie, northern pike, fish with teeth. Countless days spent on the water have turned these guys into fishing machines with an eagerness to teach people how to catch more fish. So if you are ready to become a better fisherman, join Keith, Pete, and Gary on their quest for the next bite.
I'm just looking for the next bite.
It may seem like everything surrounding muskies is big. Big lures, big laughs, big teeth, and even big hearts. Because that is what the town of Hayward adds to the list as they host one of the Wisconsin Northwood's biggest annual celebrations, pulling out all the stops, and whose sole guest of honor is none other than one of our most beloved species of fish, and also the apex predator Pete Maina has dedicated his life to, both as an angler and an educator.
This lake is kind of like the Canadian Shield. Everything looks good. You gotta fish it all.
Hayward, Wisconsin is smack dab in the middle of a ton of various types of lakes, reservoirs, and river systems. And Pete Maina, Jim Hudson, and Rick Palmer, now donning his civilian attire, are setting up to drop some really great pointers on how to make some key decisions in your setup.
Yeah.
Good sign, man.
Yeah. Right up in the slot, too.
Was he?
Yeah. Yeah. He creamed it. Creamed it good.
And your choice of water type, when such a variety in lake selection for muskie fishing is available, no matter what the weather's looking like.
I don't know. I haven't seen this a whole lot, guys. We got 67-degree water here. It's supposedly summer. And the lake is steaming.
In addition to having 3 anglers casting to various depths, one of Pete's favorite things to do is to run an additional rod off the back of the boat with a live sucker rig, in hopes of conjuring up a bonus bite.
Hit the net.
There, we got him.
Need a little help here, Pete?
Oh, I lost my hat.
Man, get Tubi out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There he is.
Here, we'll get him.
Yeah, you'll get him all right.
There he is.
All right.
Oh, it just came off. Look at that.
Hold on, let me get my hat here. Let's see. Here we go.
Perfect.
And everything is back in order.
Yeah.
And he popped off the hooks there, it looked like.
Yep.
Huh? Yeah, perfect.
Yep. Yeah, you got the hooks over on the side there.
I'll tell you what. That was a lot more exciting on the hook set than I thought it was a bigger fish right after I hit him.
No, your rod just doubled over like that. It was, I thought at least a 45, you know.
What is this rain falling, by the way? All right, oh boy, he is just...
He's a mean one.
Yeah, he really is. I hate to see him when he's 50.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a mean dude. He was after Trixie. He's like, hey man, I'm taking advantage of that. He's thinking, I'm gonna grow up quick. All right, buddy, let's, boy, wow, talk about out of there. Well, we're doing something a little bit different here this time of year. The fishing's been tough. We're actually dealing with a pretty major cold front, but this is just a good general tip, especially for spring fishing, is that if it's available to you, and a lot of lakes have it, you got what we like to call slop, and that can just be a variety of different types of vegetation, different types of cabbage weed, lily pads, but real thick, heavy cover. Right now we're working an area where anywhere from 2.5 to 4.5 feet of water. There's thick weeds of all different types, and a lot of it is actually emergent, so it sticks sticking up right to the top. And sometimes, especially this time of year, the fish will like to hide in that stuff. You got to get pretty specific with your presentations. You pretty much got to start thinking single hooks only. So you're using different baits like this soft magic swimmer here that's only got the one hook and it's kind of hidden. So what that does is it allows you to work through just about any type of structure. Movement in heavy cover just means something to eat to them, and they may blast at it even if you've got a bunch of weeds on it. So baits like this, single hook spinner baits, buzz baits, Johnson silver minnow, anything like that gives you a good chance in this type of slop cover. Jimbo!
Here we go.
Hey, there you go. You just put that thing on, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think you got a winner there. Hey, that that chatterbait is something they might not have seen here.
A bit bigger one, Pete.
Is it? Cool.
Yeah, you might need the net on this
All
one.
right, Ricky will get it. We got Super Muskie Man on duty here.
Not a huge fish or anything, but it's decent. Better.
All right, well, Ricky, get him, buddy.
There.
Get him in
He's
there.
gonna go in the net.
Put him in the net, Ricky.
There.
Put him in the net. There you got him.
Hey, Pete, that was the second cast at that thing.
Well, that hole kind of fools you there, dude.
Yeah, I'm not used to that.
All right, man. Hey, that's a nice fish. Boy, he got harpooned.
The next bite is presented by Mercury, Amsoil, the first in synthetics, Tracker Boats, fish the finest, Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here, Berkeley, catch more fish. Pete Maina self-admittingly may not, in the strictly human sense, be the most organized guy out there.
Pete, I love the new boat. It's very organized as always.
You see the welcome mat up there?
I do.
But when it comes to muskies, one of his greatest strengths is being able to take fishing situations that would seem complex and use both reason and his experience to give you the best possible information so that you yourself can go out and increase your chances of catching more muskies.
When you've got 3 people casting for muskies, especially so in the spring when the fish tend to suspend real high in the water column and deeper water, whether you're on a natural lake or a reservoir, we happen to be on a reservoir here today, kind of a river system because it's a cold front. Generally the cold fronts don't bother these river fish quite as much, but what we've got here is a pretty unique deal. We've actually got an area here where we're right along the edge of the river channel, and I can work this edge, and I've got Jim and Ricky actually tossing up into the slop across the edge of the break and working that part of the water column. And I've got a fairly thin river channel out here, which is really nice because I can pretty much cover it all myself. Anytime you have a situation where you can reach an edge and fish the normal kind of standard shallow type of situation with a couple of anglers, it's always best to have the other guy, unless you really know there's a pattern, shallow or vice versa, you want to have the other person accessing that deep water with a little bit deeper presentation. But it's also important to note that you don't need to get that deep this time of year too. You don't necessarily have to get down real deep in the water column. In fact, sometimes you may end up fishing underneath the fish. So work both. When you've got a situation like this with a real sharp break, work together, work both sides and see if you can pattern the fish.
Working together casting to break down and cover water is definitely helping Pete, Jim, and Rick to better pattern the muskies, but sharing the bonus action off a live bait rig while casting not only serves up some additional patterning information for depths and active fish spots, but has been great for keeping the action up every step of the way.
I'm gonna get that up. He's quite a ways out there, so I'm gonna start up and we're gonna drive right over the top of him, buddy. What's the deal? You got it? There you go, man. That's cool. All right, Jimbo. Oh, he's not a bad one.
No. We finally got Martha to take a little walk.
Yeah, Martha. Get him out from underneath that boat, Jim. Get him, Ricky. Get him, buddy. All right, well, hey, we're not monsters, but it's fun, huh?
Yeah.
Let me get you the pliers. There you go, man.
Yeah, we'll get this guy unhooked here. It's not hooked too terribly bad.
That's perfect, then.
Yeah, there he is.
He's wrestling with you, man.
Yep.
There you go. Good job.
Yeah, another decent little Hayward muskie here.
Yeah, that was fun, boy.
Yeah.
Talk about staying shallow.
I know.
Right on top of them like
Yep.
that. Wow.
Yeah, we better get this one back too.
Yeah, get him back in, dude.
All right, get him going good.
Oh.
real deal. Real fishing information from real fishing experts. Presented by Amsoil.
One of the most effective rigs for walleye fishing is a simple spinner rig, or some people call them a night crawler harness. Now what makes these rigs so effective is that they draw fish in from a long way away. They do that by having this blade spinning in the water, throwing off a vibration. Now one of the things that's also great about a spinner is that you can fish it in all different kinds of situations. For example, if you want to fish it on structure down close to the bottom, you run it behind a bottom bouncer and get it right down in the fish zone. If you want to fish for suspended fish, open water fish, then you can run it by some kind of a weight, like a pro weight or an inline fish weight. Now one of the things that I've always done for my career is I always hand tied my own spinners. And the reason for that is I feel like you can give yourself a big advantage by using the right components. First of all, you want to look at using the right style of hook. You want a wide gapped hook, but not a real long shank. And the reason for that is it makes it lightweight, but gives you a big gap for hooking that fish. Next, I'm going to put on some very bright beads. I like to use holographic beads because they shine better, they show off better in the water. I'm going to put on top of that a quick change clevis so that I can move around and change around my blades very quickly. And then of course the blade is very, very important. You want a deep cupped blade, you'll see that in the back here, but you also want something that's very shiny. I like holographics. This is a new holographic called an oil slick holographic. It makes it look more realistic and more alive. And then of course you tie the whole thing together with about a 4-foot chunk of 100% fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon is very tough, very clear, but because it's so clear, you can actually go to a heavier pound test and get a more durable rig. Now, why do I bring up all of these different components? Like I said, I've been tying these spinners for years. The thing that's really great this next year is that Berkley has went out and actually built rigs for us designed by Gary Parsons and I. They're called a flicker rig. They've got all the components I talked about, and you'll notice that they have the name flicker in them, kind of like our flicker shads. They took a lot of the same color combinations that are proven to catch a lot of walleye. So continue to tie your own spinners. It's a great thing to do. Use the right components. But if you're like me and you want to do more fishing in less tying, you might want to try a flicker rig next year and catch a bunch of walleyes.
You know, one thing that can be very advantageous and also just a lot of fun is what we call lake hopping. And of course you got to have a situation where you've got a lot of options available, and that's something that you really do have here in Hayward, Wisconsin, and really pretty much all in northern Wisconsin. But you've got natural lakes, you've got rivers. So what this allows you to do is basically just hop around and try different things. As a general rule, you're going to want to be on your darker stain waters when you've got the sunnier type conditions. And of course we've got a lot of lakes in the area that are very gin clear as well, and normally after dark or on dark days is when you're going to want to try and target those lakes. You got to really kind of let the fish tell you what they're in the mood for. But what you're able to do, because there's so many lakes in a small proximity, is you're able to hip hop around and maybe fish 2-3 different lakes in the same day, possibly allowing you to pattern fish to the watercolor, different types of structure and weeds, and possibly even current. Sometimes a current situation will provide a scenario where the fish are just more active. A good example might be a cold front. But again, it's fun, and a lot of times you can end up coming up with a nice little pattern, figuring out where the fish are more active during the time that you're there.
So we've got hip-hopping lakes and rock and roll. Unfortunately, with only a few hours to kill on the water with Pete, Rick, and Jim, it's getting close to time for Brian Schram to hit the stage at the Hayward Muskie Festival, and he's left with only a few flirting nibbles on the sucker rod and some near boatside follows to tide him over until the next time he puts down the guitar for a muskie rod.
He's not there.
Oh, he got hit though.
Yeah.
Because with Brian, it always seems like he's got one or the other, but as they say, the show must go on.
Well, dude.
Well,
time to get going.
Yeah.
We got a few hours in. But anyway, dude, it's time for you to rock the Muskie Fest, so we got to go do that.
Like you said, man, I'm Brian Schram. You call me the Fishing Rocker. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I drove out here to play some fishing music for you guys, if you don't mind.
The party doesn't stop for Pete, Rick, and Jim, though, even if the sunshine does. But that's not necessarily a bad thing either, considering the lull in the bite it brought with it the previous day.
Hit the net. Holy cow, did he get tangled up in that, dude?
Wow. He came from nowhere, Pete. I don't know where he came from. Just all of a sudden, wham! That's a better one.
Yeah, that's a better one there. Get into that there, Ricky. I don't think he's going anywhere, actually. Well, you just stunned him there at the end.
Yeah, he came flying out of the water like that, and then all of a sudden he just subdued, like, I'm done.
Yeah. Holy cow, the look on your face.
But the one cool thing, Pete, with that was I was just coming around, doing a figure eight, blind figure eight, and he must have come from underneath the boat and just wham! Chunky one here, Pete. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful river fish. We'll get this guy put back too here.
Yeah, that's a nice one, man.
Yeah. When it comes to muskie fishing, one of the key points in your retrieve is a figure eight. You know, every time we're out on the water, we're muskie fishing, we're bringing our baits in, we can see the fish following, and we're triggering that fish by doing a figure eight or a big oval. But like the water we're fishing today, dark water, you really can't see your baits that well, and you can't see the fish that well. So what we're doing on every cast is what we're called the blind figure eight. We're casting out, bringing our baits back, and watching it if we can, but sometimes because of the color of the bait, we may not be able to see the actual bait. We may not be able to see the fish. So we're coming in, making a big oval, or say even a full figure eight with each cast to trigger them fish that might be coming out from underneath the boat or from the side or anything like that. Other situations you're going to deal with blind figure eights is when you're fishing at night. Of course, you're never going to be able to see your baits at night. And then when you're dealing with large wave situations, light refraction's not going to be able to allow you to see deep into the water and see them big follows. So every time you're dealing with them situations, you want to have blind faith, put your rod tip in the water and do a full figure eight or a full circle to catch the muskies that you can't see.
Super Muskie Man scores on the figure eight.
All right, must have been the pink hat.
Yeah, I think it's the pink hat. You started wearing
Definitely.
that, but boy, nice, clean, pretty fish. Figure
Bingo
eight
bango.
Muskie Man.
Yes, sir.
And she's out of there.
Leading information on tackle and techniques to make you a better fisherman. Presented by Mercury.
I tell you, one of the most popular combinations on the water today is this 60 Mercury coupled with a 16-foot aluminum deep V fishing boat. Fishermen, they love their equipment and they love taking their buddies out on their boat. And what that tends to do is it tends to weight these applications down a little bit. A great way to combat that is with a 60 Bigfoot. So what Bigfoots do for you is they have an oversized gear case, which works great, and what you'll tend to do is find them a lot behind pontoons, because that larger gear case gets you down in the water a little bit more, gets you in some cleaner water. You don't tend to cavitate or have any problems with blowout. But what that Bigfoot is also going to do for you on these 16-foot aluminums, when they're weighted down a little bit, is it has a 2:33:1 gear ratio. And that extra gear ratio really helps get these heavy boats up on plane and out of the water quick.
For the past 3 days, Pete Maina, Jim Hudson, and Rick Palmer have been demonstrating how to approach fishing for muskies in areas with multiple types of water available. And whether it's lakes, reservoirs, or rivers, using the general weather and the time of year as a basis, and then breaking down water by splitting casting coverage early on, complemented with a live bait rig setup, had everyone within a matter of days catching a few muskies.
Well, this slop is fun. Yeah, there he is, Jimmy. All right, looking nice. And some champers.
Including Rick nabbing his second for the trip, who even after his earlier shenanigans,
Never fear, Super Muskie Man is here to give you the next bite.
is surprisingly actually a man of few words.
Whoa, she's a feisty little one.
On that bucktail?
Yep, little Louie.
All right.
Yep, bring them right around here.
Get the net.
Bring them right around here.
Super Muskie Man scores.
Get them up.
Okay, get him in here.
Oh, there he is.
Okay.
Nice little guy.
Yeah. Good job, man. It kind of just hit about 10 feet into it, it looked
Yeah,
like.
hit pretty hard. Thought he was a little bit bigger, but Muskie's a muskie, right?
Yeah, you scored, dude. Hey, you saw a little excitement there out of you, man. All right, well, get her back.
There may not have been giants this time,
Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
but kinda like the big Muskie Festival in the small town of Hayward, big things come in small packages. And it was nice to see such a great turnout.
He's thinking, I'm gonna grow up quick.
Pizza Muskie Maniac with a pink hat. Look at that guy over there. Hey, Muskies all day, all night, what I know. I gotta get down to the lounge. Hey, I gotta go.